Good afternoon, everyone. I know Brandon would be happy we're starting on time today. And certainly there's a vacuum in the air with him not being here today. And who would have thought that we would be here 2 months later without him? Certainly he is missed, and missed badly. I just let that speak for himself, because he was a great man and gave a lot to the city, so much to the city, and it's staggering how much he gave to the city. If you have ever seen his vita, it's overwhelming, the amount that he accomplished in a lifetime, and I know Patty and Brandon would like to focus upon the celebration of life rather than the grief of the passing. So let's do that today and celebrate what he gave to all of us and the positive memories of what he left us with. And in keeping with that, we have two final speakers that Brandon and I worked together to arrange in the Great Grad series. That were in the performing arts idiom. They are today's speaker, Ben Spalding, a great, dear personal friend and former colleague. And next month we will have Ann Dixon, who is the artistic coordinator for the Nashville Symphony and Nashville Opera, who is also a graduate of Forest Park High School, who will be our guest speaker. It's my pleasure to introduce our great grad speaker today, Ben Spalding, who, as I mentioned, was a former colleague at Winton Woods High School and a former student at Winton Woods High School, whose impact on the world of music, and particularly a cappella, is nothing short of inspiring. Ben is a renowned choir director and the visionary force behind Forte, the group that won the International Championship of High School A Cappella in 2016. His passion for contemporary a cappella music has taken him far beyond the stage. He co-authored the influential A Cappella with Deke Sharon and Brodie McDonald, and has helped shape the future of the genre through his work as a founding member of the A Cappella Education Association. His education career has included such varied experiences as music teacher, assistant principal, and fine arts supervisor. Ben is in high demand as a clinician, traveling the country to lead workshops and mentor vocal groups of all ages. Most recently, he's been leading the exciting revival of the professional a cappella group Vocalight, which relaunched last year. Outside of performance, Ben currently helps music students and educators bring their talents to audiences nationwide through his work with Bob Rogers Travel. A proud 1998 graduate of Winton Woods High School, Ben also holds advanced degrees in music education, counseling, and administration from the University of Kentucky, Kent State University, University of Dayton, and Xavier University. Please join me in giving a warm welcome to Ben Spalding. Appreciate you being here.
I appreciate it.
Well,
Thank you all so much. It's awesome to be here, and for those of you that do know me, that you know that it's dangerous to give me a microphone, and it is also why I will pretty much stick to the script here with doing this today. But it was a really cool and awesome opportunity for me to take a trip down memory lane and just kind of reopen some of those memories and reopen Pandora's box. My wife and I were talking earlier about Riley's and wondering if we could stop by there. Unfortunately, it's closed, but I know that was always a staple of the community and some of the other staples. I grew up in Forest Park, right across from the Forest Park police chief, Mr. Ballmer. It was a cool thing. Always felt safe, good.
So did we.
Yeah. So, and then later on, I moved off of Exmoor to Springfield Township, back by Lakeside. I used to run back by the Park Horse Trail and all that stuff. And when the lake would flood, we couldn't get out of our neighborhood. I'd have to go back in the Wyoming area and all that stuff. Great place. Creamy Whip, Ameristop, Oktoberfest, all of those things that I remember very fondly of the Green Hills and Forest Park area, and especially the Green Hills Pool is also a great place. So, but anyways, today basically I'm going to talk about my journey and how the Winton Woods City School District impacted my future and who I am today. And it became pretty evident as I kind of started to unpack all these things, like, oh yeah, I might be doing this because of this. I think when you start to realize, man, my dad, he did this and this, and you'll find out more about my dad, and then you start to realize, I might kind of be like him. You know, you start to unpack all those things and realize. But anyways, I'll kind of stick to the script as I move forward here. So as I reflect on the journey that brought me to where I am today, I'm filled with an overwhelming sense of gratitude and amazement. The path that led me here was not always clear, nor without its challenges, but it's undeniable that the twists and turns of my life have shaped me into who I am now. Central to this journey has been the Winton Woods City School District, a place that has consistently been a part of my story, influencing my worldview, igniting my curiosity, and sparking a passion for connection and discovery that continues to drive me today. Let me begin with my elementary school experience, which was unlike most of my peers, though I certainly didn't realize it at the time. My dad, Ernie Spalding, was the principal, or Dr. Spalding, was the principal at Beechwoods Elementary where I attended school. Growing up with a parent in a leadership role at my school came with its fair share of perks and challenges. On the other hand, I could walk the halls of the school and hear teachers greet me by name, even before I knew who they were, so that was good and bad. Already an expectation. That certainly wasn't a normal experience for most students, but it was a unique one for me. There was always the added pressure of hearing from my classmates when someone got in trouble and had to go to the principal's office. While not every student would notify me, there were a few memorable occasions when they did. Looking back, those moments felt like I was both an insider and a bit of an outsider at the same time. On the flip side, I was fortunate to have access to opportunities that few other kids did, like being able to play basketball in the gym with friends on the weekends. That was a special privilege, one that definitely contributed to my sense of belonging within the school district. While this wasn't part of my typical student journey, it was a significant and formative part of mine. But of course, not everything was smooth sailing. I did find myself in the principal's office once during my elementary school years. And wouldn't you know it, my dad happened to be out of town. Never forget that. You can imagine how well that went when he came back. At that point in my life, I was one of the quietest students in my class. I was more of an observer, content to reflect on the world around me, but rarely the one to speak up or take center stage. But everything began to change in sixth grade, a year that would mark a turning point in my personal growth. It was when I had the incredible opportunity to travel to Costa Rica as a part of a foreign exchange program. And I pause on that to imagine like kids even doing that now, but in sixth grade it was, yeah. But 10 of us students, along with one brave parent, embarked on what would become an unforgettable adventure. Looking back, I can't help but marvel at my parents' boldness in sending me on such a trip. With 4 kids at home, maybe they figured they could afford to lose one. Though I like to think it was also a bit of a test, considering my knack for getting in trouble when my dad wasn't around. So there you go. This journey through Costa Rica was my first real taste of the world beyond my immediate surroundings, and it left a mark on me. From hiking through the rainforest to learning the hard way that the mango skin is related to poison ivy. Yes, I broke out in a rash that lasted the entire trip. Yeah, it was. I have pictures. I didn't bring them, but I do. Yeah. Every moment was a new experience that expanded my view of the world. I still vividly recall getting a collect call from my parents during that trip. Just as Christian Leitner's infamous shot ended the University of Kentucky's NCAA tournament hopes. While my Wildcats had been crushed, that phone call didn't just mark a moment of personal disappointment, it also served as a reminder of how interconnected my love for travel, sports, and music were becoming. In a way, this trip foreshadowed much of my future, including my continued connection to the University of Kentucky, my eventual passion for music, and the travel experiences that would become a key part of my life. What I didn't realize at the time was that this also introduced me to something else that would shape my path, performing music. This big moment here. One of the most memorable moments was when we performed a dance for the sixth graders in Costa Rica to MC Hammer's Too Legit to Quit. I don't remember all the moves we did, but I still can remember those MC Hammer pants, those 90s vibes. But that did spark a unique and exciting part of my elementary and a little bit of my performing stuff that I loved, Mrs. Marzan as well. So, middle school. As I look back at middle school years, I realized just how fortunate I was to be a part of a school district that nurtured not only my academic growth, but my love for the arts. One teacher in particular had a lasting impact on me, and you'll find this as a continuing theme throughout, is Hal Hess. The Winton Woods School District truly struck gold with fine arts educators like him. Hal's patience, goofiness, and creativity were beyond compare. He created an environment where learning and fun went hand in hand. I will never forget how his approach made me feel valued and confident, and I'm beyond appreciative for the foundation he helped lay for me in the arts. One of the most memorable moments from middle school, whether it be good or bad, was when I was given the chance to sing I'm Late from Alice in Wonderland as part of a school production. At that time, I was just over 4 feet tall, so running around on stage as the bunny seemed to be the perfect fit. I loved every minute of it, and it was the moment that sparked a deeper appreciation for music, theater, and performance that would stay with me for years to come. Alongside music and theater, I also discovered a passion for athletics during middle school, can't you tell? Specifically cross country and track. It was during this time that I began to develop a love for running. While I can't say that my passion for the sport endured in the long term, as you probably can tell by looking at me, it was during these years that I began to appreciate the mental and physical discipline that athletics demanded. I didn't know it at the time, but this understanding of discipline persistence would continue to inform so many aspects of my life. And we do have Mr. Henning here, who's actually a stellar cross-country coach and just incredible. I think they won state while he was coaching, not to bring you into this, but yeah, taking a trip down memory lane, so thanks for coming. Stellar cross-country coach for our district. Discovering grief and how to handle it too soon, the next chapter of kind of moving on from middle school here. So the summer after my 8th grade year became one of the most challenging times of my life to date. It was a time when I discovered grief in a way that no one should experience so early. At the beginning of the summer, one of my best friends, Siddhartha Shaw, or Sid as we called him, left for India to visit his family. I can still remember receiving letters from him, letters written on blue paper, each one filled with stories of his adventures and experiences in a place so far from home. I still have those letters today. It's incredible how certain things in life can serve as a snapshot, preserving memories that seem so vivid even after all these years. The blue paper, the handwriting, and the words he shared with me are etched in my mind. And it's still in a box, one of those things that I can't find myself to go back and ever read, maybe one day. But that summer would soon take a turn that I never saw coming. I remember the call I received from another friend, a call that started with the words, "Did you hear what happened?" His voice sounded different, heavy with something I couldn't yet comprehend. My mind raced as he continued. Sid passed away while he was in India. At first, I thought it had to be some cruel joke, some misunderstanding. But as he spoke, the gravity of the words hit me like a ton of bricks. It wasn't a joke. Sid was gone. And my entire world, which had been full of excitement and plans for high school, was suddenly shattered. That summer, instead of looking forward to the new chapter that high school promised, I was left reeling with the news that one of my closest friends was no longer with us. Sid wasn't just any student. He was a straight A student, one of the brightest people I knew. He had a quiet brilliance that, at the time, only a few could rival. In fact, he was the only other student in our school who came close to competing with Kylene, my now wife, for the top spot in academics. Very true story. I remember going to his parents' house after hearing the news, walking through the door and hugging his family. We cried together uncontrollably, all of us holding on to the memory someone we'd lost far too soon. One of the things I never forget from that day was Sid's parents turning to Kylie and asking her with a mix of sadness and sincerity, "Who's going to give you a run for your money with your grades now?" It was a simple question, but in that moment it felt like the weight of the world was pressing down on all of us. And to pause, it wasn't me. It wasn't me. Sid's absence left a void that we couldn't fill, and even as we moved on with the rest of the summer, the upcoming high school years, and life itself, there was always an empty space where his presence used to be. As we returned to school and adjusted to the new realities of our lives, the hole left by Sid's passing stayed with us. His absence was a constant reminder that life is unpredictable and, at times, cruel. But as much as we struggled with the grief, I couldn't help but reflect on what Winton Woods had taught us. It had taught us to be resilient, to lean on each other in times of hardship, and to carry on with strength even when life didn't make sense. The connection we had built with our friends, teachers, families, and community were invaluable. It was the foundation that allowed us to endure such loss and continue moving forward despite the pain. The bonds we shared in Winton Woods were something special, and that sense of community and support is something I will forever hold close to my heart. Even as we faced difficult times, it was the lessons we had learned from our school, our mentors, and our families that gave us the strength to navigate those uncharted waters. Those moments of sorrow, as painful as they are, also highlighted the power of those connections. They taught us how to face grief head on, how to support one another, how to heal in ways we never could have imagined on our own. To this day, I remain proud of the way Winton Woods shaped me, not only as a student, but as a person capable of resilience, empathy, and strength in the face of life's most difficult challenges. And while Sid's passing will always be a part of my story, so will the lessons I learned about the importance of community, love, and the bonds that connect us all. High school. As I transitioned into high school, my involvement in various activities only expanded. Track, cross-country, tennis, and an incredible amount of music were the cornerstones of my high school experience. I can still vividly remember the thrill of marching band rehearsals under the guidance of the amazing Kim Sufel, where I was lucky enough to be a part of a trumpet section that I will always look back on fondly. Sam Sufel, Matt Buell, and I were a part of a section that truly set the bar high. Well, some of us did, and while I might not be breaking out my trumpet to play for you today, like Mr. Hoffman did with his it was bass clarinet or the instrument that he played, because there's actually someone in the room who I sold it to, and I'll forever cherish the memories at that time. But if you want to break it out and play it, you do still have it. Yeah, you didn't bring it? It's in the car? Okay. Just saying. Okay. And then one of the most impactful experiences I had during high school came at the recommendation of Dave Bell. Toward the end of my freshman year, he pulled me and my friend Larry Seward aside and suggested we audition for the Governor's Institute, a summer music and choir camp held at Miami University. I remember feeling nervous but also excited by the idea. Who could have known that one recommendation would open doors that would impact my life for years to come? At the Governor's Institute, we had the chance to sing in a choir and perform together at the end of that camp. This experience deepened my love for music and exposed me to a new level of artistic collaboration. And it wasn't just the music that made an impression, it was the people, the friendships, and the sense of belonging that made that camp unforgettable. I still remember the t-shirt I received there. It's probably my favorite t-shirt of all time, and I now have the quote from that t-shirt framed in my office, true to this day. The quote on that shirt resonated so deeply with me that I carry its message with me today, and I'll share that quote with you now, and I actually have the t-shirt. I did this one other time, actually, where I brought this t-shirt and I laid it down, and it was with my new company, and somebody said, "Oh, a new t-shirt for me. Why does it look so old?" And I was like, "Give that back." Yeah. So anyways, here it is. I don't really know that I need to read it, but yeah, what was any art but a mold in which to imprison for a moment the shining, elusive element which is life itself? It credits Willa Cather's Song of the Lark. Just always spoke to me, kind of my inner, deeper thoughts and understandings, and something Dave was always good at, bringing quotes, and it just made me think of different things, and I just love that quote to this day. So it encapsulates music and the art in a very cool way. So after my sophomore year, I had another full circle moment, yet one more way that the Winton Woods City School District shines and brings out the best in people. At the end of my sophomore year, I attended an award ceremony for my brother, Dan, at Winton Woods Middle School. That year, they decided to introduce a new award to two 8th graders named after Siddhartha Shaw. Once more, the floodgates opened as my brother Dan was announced as one of the two recipients of the Siddhartha Shaw Award, a moment I will never forget. At Winton Woods High School, I was fortunate to be given a plethora of opportunities, whether it was marching band, band camps, theater, musicals, or choir. Emphasis on choir for me is just an incredible experience. But it wasn't just the activities themselves that shaped me. It was the lessons I learned from the incredible people who guided me along the way. One of the most powerful influences came from Principal Larry Day. He wasn't just a school administrator. He was a mentor who taught us about the power of hard work, respect, and perseverance. He showed us how those values could transform us and help us reach places we never thought possible through our imaginations. I still find myself thinking about the pride and culture at Winton Woods, the diversity that was so integral to our experience, and one that I am incredibly proud to have been a part of. I also remember an experience with Principal Annie Wade that left a lasting impact. One day, I casually shot a paper wad at the trash can in the middle of class. Smart. Not thinking anything of it, as luck would have it, Principal Annie Wade was walking down the hallway and saw it. Yep, the door was wide open, and she just walked in. I was like, oh, Lordy. Now, I didn't get into trouble, at least not in the way most people would expect, but her response showed me the power of respect and accountability. She didn't yell or scold me. Instead, she pulled me aside and asked me to look up at the banners in the cafeteria when I went to lunch that day and reflect on what they had to say. Those banners became a touchstone for me, sort of the pillars, reminding me of what was expected in our school and community. I learned a lesson in accountability and respect that has stayed with me ever since. Another influential figure in my life was Mr. Bird, my history teacher. He taught us more than just history. He let everybody come in and beat me up when it was my birthday and punch me and do all those things too. That was kind of fun, or not fun for me. But he also taught us the importance of discipline and routine. I'll never forget the day he shared with us that he never used an alarm clock because he had established a routine that kept him disciplined and on time every day. His consistency and dedication to a structured life showed me the value of establishing healthy habits and sticking to them. You never know when the kids in your classroom are listening, and that stuck with me. And then again, there was Larry Day. I can't stress enough how much his guidance meant to me. He was the only one who helped me overcome my shyness. Not the only one. He was the one who helped me overcome my shyness, especially when it became to acting. In middle school, I was painfully shy, like I said. But when I stepped into a role on stage, something changed. I found a way to express myself through the character I was playing. It gave me permission to be allowed to talk, to be someone else for a while. And in doing so, it helped me stop worrying so much about my shyness and fears. The confidence I gained through acting became a foundation for everything I did later in life. In high school, I also started dating Kylene Clordy, who would go on to become my wife. We started dating our junior year, and little did I know that this relationship would be one of the most significant parts of my journey. The only bad thing about doing both band and choir in high school at Winton Woods is that it left room for others to take an extra weighted class. And even though Kylene never got a B in high school, she ended out third overall in the class because of it. But it's okay. I will point out later that I was able to kind of rectify that situation, and I learned something that I could help fix down the road in my career, and the ability to take both band and choir did, in the end, prove even more pivotal for us down the road. And of course, there's Dave Bell. I'm saving him for the end because his influence in my life is one I'll never forget. I owe so much to him, not only as a teacher, but as a mentor, a guide, and a dear friend. More to come. As I move forward from high school, I carried all these lessons with me to the University of Kentucky. I graduated with a Bachelor of Music in Music Education, but before that, I remember reporting back to Dave Bell after my college audition, telling him I was one of the only students to be accepted on the spot that day. It was another example of how the education and experiences I gained at Winton Woods gave me a head start in life. I graduated from Winton Woods in 1998 and from the University of Kentucky in 2002, and then Kylene and I got married the week before I started my first teaching job in Lexington on August 9th, 2003. So in 4 days, we'll be celebrating year 22 together. Marking the beginning of an exciting new chapter in both our personal and professional lives. We celebrate 20 years of marriage this Saturday, yep. So now just a couple, I'll kind of go through some of the highlights of things that I've done that Winton Woods has prepared me for. So my teaching career, my first year, was actually in Lexington, Kentucky, at Beaumont Middle School. I was at Beaumont Middle School and Bryan Station High School, And the way that that worked is half the day I taught at the middle school and then the other half at the high school. They didn't feed one another, so it was a half-time job and a half-time job in the same school district that equated to a full-time job. But I had a 30-minute drive in between the day and to get to the other school, and so that's how I started out my career, choir director at both schools. But hey, I lived of the mentality of whatever you can get, and you go and you give it everything you got. But then after Kylene graduated, that first year of teaching in Lexington, we decided it was time to come back from Ohio. So she finished her master's, and then we came back to Ohio. My first stop back in Ohio to get us back here was at Pleasant Ridge Middle School and Northwest High School. For 1 year, I taught at Pleasant Ridge Middle School in Northwest High School. I don't need to read that, but I always had somebody say to me, and I hesitate to say this in some ways, but I just feel that it's wrong, and somebody has always said you can't make a difference in 1 year being in a school district, and I just don't think that's correct. Because I still have teachers, and I still have students to this day. Some of the most powerful relationships with students that I've ever had came from my 1 year at Northwest High School. Kim Hartmung is a principal at a fine arts school here in Butler County, and still reaches out to me to this day. So I do want to put that myth to bed that I don't think, and sorry if you're the person that told me that, I just don't agree. So you can make a difference in 1 year at a school district. So back to Winton Woods. Then after my 1 year at Northwest, I did come back to Winton Woods, to where I grew up. And it was incredible. Some of the things that I experienced was I had the privilege of leading students with Dave Bell under his guidance and leadership to China with Varsity Ensemble. The entire experience was transformative for both the students and ourselves. I'll share some of the experiences here. Sharing a family-style meals with students on Lazy Susans, getting a first-hand look at cultural differences, like seeing fish served with the head still on, was eye-opening. It wasn't just about the food, it was about learning how to engage with the world in ways that expand my perspective. Bonus, I also lost 7 pounds during the trip, but that's a story for another time. I have found those 7. Yeah, found it. I'm good at finding things. The highlight, of course, was performing on the Great Wall of China. Imagine standing there with your students, all of us in all of the history around us, and singing for the Chinese government. The government meticulously vetted every song we performed to ensure it met their standards, but it was more than just following rules. It was about sharing music and connecting through art of an entire different culture. These kinds of experiences are what make teaching such a powerful and rewarding career. Returning to give back, so there's truly no greater gift than coming back to the place that shaped you in giving back. And over the years, I had the honor of working alongside some of the best educators I've ever met. I was not just mentored by them, I became dear friends with them. Many people go a lifetime without experiencing that kind of professional and personal growth, and I consider myself incredibly lucky to have been on that journey. So moving forward then, when I moved to Centerville, everything I learned as a student at Winton Woods and as an educator and the son of a principal prepared me for what came next. I transitioned from being a part of an incredible music program at Winton Woods to establishing my own identity as a teacher, a person, and a father. It was a new chapter that allowed me to grow in ways I never imagined. I didn't leave Winton Woods because I didn't love it anymore. I've moved on so that I could continue expanding up on the amazing opportunities that Winton Woods provided for me. I wanted to see how Winton Woods prepare me yet again to create my own choral program. And then, how did it go? And again, I'll read some of the things that we did over the years, and most of this is a tribute to the things that I learned along the way. But so accolades and achievements at Centerville. Well, the one thing I'll go back to is, remember, my wife was third in her class because band and choir weren't weighted for your GPA. Well, I was able to make sure that the 2 choirs were weighted at Centerville, something that wasn't possible prior to me arriving. So anybody that took choir at Centerville, if you were in those top two groups, you could still not get your GPA docked, if you put in extra work, of course. So I founded the contemporary a cappella group Forte. Forte became a 4-time runner-up in the International Championships of High School a cappella, so we compete with 200 to 300 groups across the country every single year. 4 times we were national runner-up, and then in 2016 we won the entire thing. It's the same competition, although the glorified movie version of the ICCAs, which is the International Championships of Collegiate A Cappella, in the movie's Pitch Perfect. And so that's the funny parody type version of that, but that's the high school version that we competed in. We recorded over 100 songs and released on Spotify and iTunes as well. So if you look up Forte A Cappella, you can find hundreds of songs that we've recorded over the years. 10 albums, over 10 albums actually. And 3 of those albums, we were the first ever high school group to record all original music. So we had 3 albums of all original music and did that, and that was a really cool thing to do with the kids, students. With those, we won numerous contemporary a cappella recording awards, won Best High School Pop Album many years, and we also did a music video that's still out on YouTube with Kirsty Maldonado of Pentatonics. And so we were a part of that, and so on and so forth. I co-authored a book called A Cappella with Deke Sharon and Brody McDonald that Dave touched upon. Deke Sharon was the mastermind behind all of the music in the Pitch Perfect movies and the music producer for the Sing-Off, and was a key collaborator. And so that's how I got to know him. And a lot of times people ask me, how did you get to know Deke? I emailed him. How do you get to know these people? I tried to reach out to him, and you'd be surprised sometimes, you know. And actually, David, when we were working at Winton Woods, got an arrangement from Deke Sharon that even kind of helped connect those dots earlier on. I think I reached out and probably said, hey, we did this arrangement back at Winton Woods, and started working with him ever since. And he's become a dear friend of mine, which is great. I was one of the founders of the A Cappella Education Association, the AEA. So the AEA was also responsible for the formation of the National A Cappella Convention, which is run yearly. I used to help run that event. It now takes place in Orlando, Florida. It started out at first in Memphis, Tennessee. Clinician, had done that for many, many years, and then I've revived Vocalight. In 2017-18, I had some kids come to me and they wanted to start a professional a cappella group, and so I helped them do that, and we went on and we competed at Carnegie Hall in another competition. They took 3rd place at Carnegie Hall, and this was against professional groups and things like that. Women of the World, a professional a cappella group, unbelievable singers, got 1st place that year. We got 3rd, and then Vocalight. So when COVID hit, that kind of went away, and so we've kind of revived that with 5 new people, and they're having fun doing it. And it's nice. It's become more of a family thing now. It's my niece and my nephew are in it. My nephew can vocal percussion, and my niece can sing, and I can direct. Yeah, or something like that. So, and then just to move past some of those highlights there, other things I've done in my career, other roles and contributions. In addition to my work at Centerville, I took on several leadership roles. So I was the director of fine arts for the Hamilton City School District for a year, assistant principal at Waynesville Junior Senior High School for 1 year. When I was at Hamilton and living, it was about an hour, 50 minutes to an hour, depending on traffic and so on and so forth. So I decided to try to get a job closer to home, and in Waynesville, being 12 minutes from the house, decided ultimately that even though I loved education, being a principal wasn't the route that I wanted to stick with for the long term. I did I took over a class at Miami University, adjunct professor for a semester, a class that Dave Bell actually started, and I was able to take that over and do that for a semester. I was the director of Camp A Cappella. We had around 300 students a year come from all over the country with Deke Sharon, actually, and then authored the book with Deke. And then kind of in closing, leaving education and the transition to Bob Rogers Travel. Why do that? So after 21 years in education, I decided to take a major shift in my career and move into the travel industry with Bob Rogers Travel. My journey in education was incredibly rewarding, but I found myself drawn to the world of student travel. I've been creating moments that matter for students through the music and performance for years, but now I wanted to help create unforgettable travel experiences as well. I think one of the things that sparked this, too, was with our family. One of my absolute favorite memories is my dad, when he was 80 years old, which I have to do the math now, how old he is. This was a couple years ago, so probably 82, but about to be. But anyways, he drove my truck all across the country. We went all the way out west to Montana, and we had a Class C RV. Went over 4,000 miles. I drove that, the RV, and just to get the experience that with my family was something that kind of left a lasting impression with travel with me. It was just an incredible experience, and to get that moment with my dad, like I said, driving over 4,000 miles in our truck, and us doing the RV, incredible experiences out in Montana and Yellowstone and all that. So, travel, like art, captures those fleeting, defining moments that stay with us forever. The other thing that I would say that I absolutely love now is I still am able to, in my career, with the book and all that stuff, I'll still travel and workshop with groups all over the country. Still get asked to do that. Actually, the group that just won finals, not this year, but 2 years ago, they bring me in every single year to workshop with them and get them fine-tuned before finals and stuff. And so I get a little bit more of my time to be creative and write, and I still arrange music and do all those things. But then I also get to work with amazing directors all over the country. Some of my best friends my best friend is in Wisconsin. How did we meet? Through competing against each other all across the country and things like that. And so and he's one of my best friends to this day. One of my other best friends is in this room here. A lot of them. But anyways, music and travel have just brought so much amazing stuff to my life, and I'm very, very thankful for that. But I do want to close with a little bit more gratitude. I owe so much of who I am to the Winton Woods School District. There are so many people who have shaped me along the way. As I've stated a few times, Dave Bell, his love for his students and his passion for creating incredible music is unmatched. I'll never forget the countless opportunities he provided for me, the performances with the Cincinnati Pops, the leadership, the unwavering guidance. To go from being a student to working alongside him as a colleague and most importantly a friend is a gift I'll forever cherish. Robert Hardigan, his wit, humor, and ability to take care of his students made him one of the most special people I've ever known. And in fact, when I got the job working with Dave at Winton Woods, I'll never forget opening up the drawer, and his mustache wax was still in there. And if anybody that knows Rob, you know that he had that, and so I didn't use it, just to clarify, but it was there. But anyways, his presence was one of a kind, and he had a way of making everyone feel valued. My dad, Ernie Spalding, and there are so many more people I could thank, but I don't want to keep you guys here forever. But my dad, who's taught me the value of hard work, responsibility, and commitment. I'll never forget my first job as a custodian for the school district at 14. As soon as I turned 14, he was like, I got a job for you. I was like, awesome. And so I was a custodian. My first job as a custodian was and they had these old tin trash cans. You'd put a trash bag in them, but a lot of times they wouldn't put a trash bag in them because why? We're too good for that, I guess. I don't know. But anyways, there was gum and just all the stuff, and I had the razor blades, and so that was my first job at Winton Woods. Is they set me out back, and I had a hose, and I had their spick and span, and I had a razor blade, and I had all 50 trash cans in the entire school I scrubbed and made them clean, I think. Well, anyways, but then they just got dirty the next year, and you're like, well, let's do that again. No, I didn't. But anyways, he was an integral part of my journey, and not only as a father, but as a constant example of leadership and dedication. And then my final thoughts to everyone else who's helped me along the way. I'm forever grateful. As we continue to create moments for students, families, colleagues, in each and every one of our careers, let's never forget that it's the memories we create that matter most. And forever, with immense gratitude, and forever a Winton Woods warrior. Thank you, Ben Spalding. Yeah.